Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced field command and tactics. And we are going to have another custom battle here, but at the request of a subscriber, we are going to attempt a few battles with the Khuzait. We are going to do kiting, of course. Khuzait is probably better suited for kiting than any of the other kingdoms. And we are going to fight what is typically their common enemy in the game, and that is the Sturgians. Now we're going to give the Sturgians infantry, a lot of infantry in this battle because that's their strongest suit. And of course we're eliminating we're using all the units rather except the recruit on both sides. We don't want any full-on scrubs. And both sides also have one noble unit. You can see the Khuzait have their horse archer noble, minor noble unit. Not a noble unit, but they're the minor clan that's commonly associated with them, and then all the other boxes are checked, right? So that both sides have elite cav and some mediocre cav, elite archers, but also some weaker archers, right? What this effectively does is make the armies more or less equal strength, right? The power bar will be very close to equal, and we're going to give the Sturgians a huge advantage in numbers here, and that's because I wasn't able to move the slider and get it to give me 500 exactly. For some reason, the closest I can get is 501, so there's one more Sturgian. We will see if that swings the tide of battle here in this custom battle. Now I wish I was uphill. We are quite downhill from the Sturgians, but we're going to play with the map, you know, as is, and do the best we can. What I want to do is I want to have 8 divisions, and I want to have very specialized divisions, as you'll see me commonly use in our campaign. The 8th Corps is going to be our best horse archers. This will be like the absolute elite cons guards and stuff like that. In fact, we'll give them a little bit more. And then the 7th is going to be our weaker horse archers. That'll be all the rest of the horse archers. So I've got 2 different horse archers divisions. We don't have skirmishers with Khuzait, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to do a mixed unit of infantry and archers in the 6th. And I want these guys to be the best archers. So I'm going to say, give me your best units, and then we'll lock those 2 guys off, right? So that way the 6th, now when I run these guys out on one of the flanks, there's a decent line of infantry towards the front, but these are also like some of the best archers on the field, or at least for Khuzait. Then our other 2 lines here, the 4th and 5th, are also going to be archer divisions, and they can be about 35-40 guys each, right? We're going to do some flanking with these guys, but it's not critical how many troops they have. As long as they have roughly equal numbers here, 38-44, that'll work just fine. Of course, we want the 2nd cav to be an attacking line of cav, right? So these are going to be our elite cav. We will assign those our highest level cav, and then the 3rd will be lower tiered, and we'll make sure they have shields as a protecting line of cav. And then finally, the 1st is just a standard infantry line. Now, what's our strategy? Our strategy is to kite the enemy, which means pulling back as you attack them, as you shoot them. Now, we want the enemy and their big infantry block to come in the middle of this counterfire, right? We're going to have archers on 3 sides. We'll have infantry in the middle. If they do reach our infantry, you know, with their many, many more Sturgians, these guys will square. And if the enemy attacks that, of course, it's bad news for them because they're going to take serious losses from our archers on all 3 sides. We will also have horse archers, right? We'll have the 7th probably on one flank and the 8th on another, although I may interchange them and I may pull them with me. The 3rd cav is going to be used defensively. Right, these guys are going to be on one of the flanks, probably whatever flank I'm probably going to operate here on the right, and I'll have the enemy, or I'll have this 3rd cav playing defense on the left flank, right? So we'll have the 2nd cav over here. This is kind of what it's going to look like. Now, during the battle, of course, it's a little harder to see all that, so I'll try to point out units as I'm moving them around, and as usual, I'll try to give you an idea of what I'm thinking as the battle's unfolding. I have very little experience with Khuzait. I did start a campaign with them a long time ago, but it was definitely not enough for me to feel confident using Khuzait. That said, I think this is really a rock, paper, scissors situation, even though the Sturgians, of course, will have a nice shield wall. I'm still fairly confident here that we can gash them pretty well with this kind of tactic. Now I want our troops to quickly get towards the enemy because we need space to kite. If we're going to kite, of course, we need to be able to have area behind us to pull back to. So that's why I'm rushing our troops forward here. We are in hold fire. I'm going to use this tree line here, both as a visual reminding clue, but that's where the 4th archers are going to start the battle, the 5th right behind them, the 6th on the other side, and then the infantry kind of close to that 5th in the back. The 3rd cav is already set up in a nice defensive line over there, right? They're guarding that wing, and I'm dragging the 2nd, which is our best cav, The 7th Horse Archers I'm going to actually send across to the other side here because we're going to be using them as crossfire on the enemy, right? We want them shooting the enemy, especially from behind. Meanwhile, over here, what I want is I want to lure their cav in, and then once it's sort of sufficiently lured in, we are going to make a concentrated effort to destroy this 63 cav behind me here. These are elite noble cav. We want to kill these guys as soon as we can. All right, we're going to open fire.
On me!
And bring these horse archers in. Our archers are still kind of moving up. This is sort of suboptimal, right? I want them shooting already, and they're actually still moving. We kind of moved too far forward with our kiting movements, but we'll be able to recover from that pretty quickly. So I'm now pulling the other horse archers, so they're coming across the field here. I don't want them getting charged by the enemy cav, right? I'm playing defensive with these horse archers. In fact, all of our units are effectively kiting. The 4th is kiting, the 5th is kiting, the infantry is kiting, this 6th is kiting. Everybody's kiting here with the exception of this 3rd cav line. And I want them playing defense. I want them to see that heavy cav that's coming over there. I want them slowing that down. What we're doing here is we're stretching the enemy out. We're pulling them further away from their archers. And now it's time to attack these guys here. These guys are coming in. I want all of these units, the 2nd, 3rd, and 8th, all attacking the Sturgian noble line here, right? I want concentrated fire on them. The 6th is attacking. The 2nd is charging. That's my best cav line. I'm still watching their infantry division because that's what I'm mainly concerned about here. But before we deal with them, I want to kill the Sturgian noble units. So I'm pre-kiting so that the enemy can't reach our units, right? We're pulling our archers back on both sides. And over there I'm also going to have that cav division counter the enemy cav. Now I don't want my troops getting caught up in the Sturgian infantry here, right? And I don't want our units getting shot. So we're going to pull our units away from both the enemy archers and their big infantry block there in the center, right? It's paramount in this battle that their infantry block there is not coming to grips with our troops left and right? It's vital that our units are sort of unmolested so that they can shoot, right? I've got the 6th archers over here as well. I'm still pulling behind me the 2nd, 7th, and 8th. We're just going to kind of sit up on this high ground here for a second and sort of take in the battlefield. I haven't had a lot of opportunities to do this.
Cavalry! Give them hell! Soldiers, move!
Of course, our units are shooting, being up on this hill. Right? They're shooting. they're roaring. They're making all kinds of noise. But I don't want these units getting caught up by the enemy infantry. You see the infantry sort of bearing down there on our infantry, bearing down on our archers. So we just pull those guys back. Right? This is something that if you're not very familiar with kiting, it'll take a little while for you to get used to it. But I promise you, if you do this several times, you will get better at this.
Arrows! Get off, spread the field! Move! Troops! Forward! Spread out! Warriors! Move it! Form a wall! Hear me!
Oh, these guys are out after me, man. Alright, so the 6th here is rather diminished. The enemy's been attacking our best archers, which makes sense, right? But that doesn't really matter. Their infantry still really hasn't reached a lot of our troops. And now we're going to give these guys a nice little counter punch here, right? Their infantry is sort of all over the place. I'm still dragging the 2nd. We're finally going to drag our cav through here and do some major damage to them, right? This is sort of a breakup attempt. I want to sort of cause some chaos, finally cause some damage to the Sturgeon. We got horse archers driving through there as well. We're just basically delivering a counterpunch in this battle. This is not going to be the last time we do that. But effectively, I want to cause a little bit of carnage here on them, slow them down a little bit, weaken their numbers, and now we will pull back. Right? So our archers are still up. They're still shooting. In fact, all the different divisions are still looking okay. Still dragging the 2nd Corps, right? The 2nd Corps is still following me. You can see now their main archer division is quite weakened. it's time to finally destroy this division. So way over there, I've called my third cav back because we're going to need that. We're going to do a little hammer and anvil, cav style. Hammer and anvil, of course, is a strategy where you attack an enemy on multiple sides. Ideally, you sort of hit it on one side and then attack it to the other side. Now look at their infantry is actually a little panicked. They're sort of pulling back. They look very uncomfortable. Their numbers are greatly diminished already. I'm going to start moving our infantry up because we might as well use them as part of the hammer and anvil process. I want my horse archers to stay away from the enemy archers, right? They're doing a lot of damage with their horse archers. So I'm swinging our horse archers out in two different directions. The third cav is on the other side over there. We're going to drag the second. The first infantry is told to charge because the first infantry is now close to the enemy. The third cav is coming from the other side. And here comes the multi-attack. You see the third cav is coming. We're going to delay our attack over here just a little bit. This infantry's coming in. It's not very many guys. But the infantry meets it. The second reaches it over here. They're hammer and anvil. The third cav actually got delayed so much by that rock that it's not very effective. But we're going to have them now join this fucking hammer and anvil. So both of these cav lines are now collapsing on the enemy. Infantry's in there. They're still being shot by archers. And the next stage of the battle, of course, we're going to destroy their archers. Right? This infantry is all but destroyed. I don't know. It looks like it is completely destroyed. It looks like it's utterly gutted. So now the archers all get told to advance. They get told to move forward because I want all of these units now to destroy the enemy archers. So I'm going to send one horse bow division way to the other side of the enemy because now it's time to encircle these fucks. You can see those are the fleeing Sturgians. I thought for a second those might be our troops, but they're not. That's the enemy saying, fuck this. We're bested. The archer divisions are moving forward. The enemy's panicking at this stage. They realize they're all alone. They're up against two cav divisions. Now, granted, our cav divisions are weakened. Right? Those guys are considerably weakened. We're still dragging the 8th, which is our best horse archers. And it's time to perform basically a hammer and anvil on these poor bastards next. So on the other side of these guys, of course, remember the archers are attacking them. This is a very bad situation for the enemy.
Close with them.
So the 7th is told to engage. Those guys will get closer. The second archers are told to follow me. We'll bring the third archers, or the third cav to the far side over there. I'm going to drag the 8th archers as well. That's our cons guards and other, savage mother effers.
Horsemen, move! Horse archer, move!
All I'm doing at this stage is preparing effectively a hammer and anvil. We're surrounding this enemy archer force. Shoot at will, they say. Yeah, well, it's not going to matter. Alright, so the second cav gets told to come towards us. You can probably see what's going on here. I'm basically bringing in all the units in at the same time. The third is the weakest one. We want them attacking first, just kind of holding the enemy in place. The second is following me. The 8th gets told to attack. The 7th gets told to charge. The second gets told to charge. And these are already archers. These guys were going to get skewered anyways, right? Without support against horse archers, these guys might have well taken a cyanide pill. These guys are fucking dead. Now they're surrounded. Now they're speared. They're being shot at. Our guys are trash talking in WWF style while they get shot to death. You are dead, right? Like as if they don't know that being surrounded by heavy horse and horse archers was their death, right? The green spam tells you pretty much what's going on here. It's a disaster. Even if this was infantry in the middle here, they would have been skewered by this hammer and anvil and horse archer surrounding situation. Meanwhile, at this stage, our archers, the rest of our troops that are still alive, we still have a few infantry, in fact. We have, looks like almost 100 archers. They're coming up to join in the fun, and the enemy is systematically eradicated here by the masters of kiting, the Khuzait. Right? Even though they have very strong infantry, they're just no match for our forces here. All right, so that's an enemy with lots of infantry. We will come back in another episode here. I won't waste your time. I'll preload all this, and we will give the Empire a try. We will try a mixed army of Empire, which should be a considerably harder challenge because it'll be harder to kite, but we will see what we can do in the next. We're back, and we have now Khuzait against the Empire here in this second custom battle. I've already done all this beforehand just to sort of save time and not bore you, but again, just like the previous battle, they have all the units except the scrubs, and they also both have one noble line of Cav. Not noble line, I said it again, one minor clan of Cav, right? It's sort of culturally correct. And I think this is approximately the army composition you will see a lot as a Khuzait facing the Empire. Plenty of infantry and archers, a good amount of Cav, and then a sprinkling of horse archers. Again, we'll fight on summer at noon so that we can see well, and we're looking for a map. I just picked a map that is both frequent in battles against the Empire and also where it'll be sort of easy to see. If there's a ton of trees, not only will it be more difficult for me to move around, but you won't be able to see shit. It is harder to play any kind of kiting game in the trees, and I could probably have a follow-up custom battle for that, but it's very hard for you, the viewer, to actually see it. I might need to use the RTS mod for that and sort of experiment more. So just like the previous battle, they're hugely outnumbering us here with one more guy, and into battle we go here. Now, this map will work because there's plenty of space to kite. One of the keys to kiting is to not be in a tiny map. If you're in a tiny map and you try to kite, it's just not going to work because you have nowhere to go back to. Just like the last battle, we're going to customize this almost identical. We're going to have a stronger 8th Corps of Horse Archers and then a weaker 7th Corps, right? These are going to be the two different Cav or Horse Archer divisions, the 7th and 8th. The 6th will be a quasi-skirmisher division, which effectively means a little bit of infantry and the best archers on this side. 5th and 4th will round out the rest of the archers. The 2nd and 3rd will be Cav, and I'll tinker with these because I want the archer divisions to be roughly the same size. Now, I think you can do this with 2 archer divisions, but I think it'll be much more effective if you can get this formation with your archers. If you can make that crossfire on the enemy where if they have a shield wall, they're being hit on all sides anyways, I think that'll be very effective for you. Looking where the enemy is here, we're probably going to set up right in this little valley here. In fact, I'm going to move my units over in advance because we're probably going to try to set up right here and then kite in that direction. The 2nd and 3rd Cav, I do like to have an offensive Cav, so we'll make these guys the best Cav, and then the 3rd typically is a more defensive Cav that'll be screening a lot for the weak side that we're not operating as much on. And then finally the infantry again, which I may square earlier in this battle. It depends on what happens. It depends on how hard their infantry comes in. This is going to be interesting, and I've never tried this before, folks. I'm just experimenting here in my campaign with the Khuzait. I don't even think I reached the point where I had a lot of conscripts. I just never got to that level. And I've made kind of a mistake at the beginning of this battle. I think I can continue, but my horse archers are way far away from the rest of my division. And so it's going to be a hot minute here before I can sort of get all my troops together. It looks like I didn't put any of my Cav division near my archers. So we're a little bit snafu here already, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Now, there's also nothing wrong at all with starting your horse archers as Khuzait way out in front of the rest of your troops. And the reason you would do that is that your horse archers can shoot for a lot of that time and wear the enemy down. In fact, I think I'll try to take advantage of this opportunity and do something like that.
Arrow! On soldiers! Step arms length apart!
I'm actually going to call the 7th and 8th, and we'll have these guys open fire. Their enemy horse archers are nearby. Some of their Cav is nearby. There's no harm at all in having these guys unleash their arrows and start to weaken the enemy early on. As you can see, the enemy got a kill there right away. We might as well shoot some too. You see me using the tab button a lot, right? I want to know where the enemy is. I want to know how long it's going to be before they start to impact our lines. You can't kite very well without this, right? You'd be only using visual clues, and I can tell you have a very difficult time. Now, what I'm going to do right away is tell the 7th Horse Archers to kill and counter their Horse Archers, right? That'll send those guys over there. They will skirmish with their horse archers, and they should be able to wipe out or greatly weaken horse archers over on that flank. The third cav is also on that side, right there, sort of defensive, and if the enemy heavy cav gets close to them, those guys will also be attacking. Now on this side, my goal is to kill the enemy heavy cav on this line without getting too close to their archers. I've got our 6th archers here. I want to lure the enemy in here so that I can attack this cav division without their archers being able to support it. Right now we're shooting their guys, of course. I'm going to split the cav divisions here. I've got horse archers following me and heavy cav going the other way. You can see in the middle here, their infantry is starting to come in. Do a little pre-kiting. We can move these units back. We're counter-attacking on the other side. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to sandwich the enemy heavy cav here. I've got the 2nd now following me. They're coming from behind. The horse archers are here sort of holding them in place. I got to keep kiting with the 6th. And we can have that 2nd cav then attack there. So I still have a horse cav division, a horse archer division, the best division following us. We're continuing to kite here. On this side, the enemy is greatly weakened. Their cav line is greatly weakened. Their infantry line is in here kind of in a scrum of different scrum of different enemy units and offensive units. I'm continuing to kite. Their infantry is pretty close to our archer division, and that's kind of concerning. But if you notice the enemy's archer distance, it's a long ways away. Now, at this stage, we're going to square. This infantry line, I think, is going to benefit us more by being in a square. We're continuing to move our archers back because we don't want the enemy infantry line, of course, reaching our archers. And now we're hoping they take the bite on that infantry square, right? We're hoping they apply some of their infantry damage to that square because we're going to hammer and anvil. You can see that infantry now. They're kind of near the square. They're sort of randomly chasing all over the place. What we're going to do here is hammer and anvil them with this 2nd cav division, right? It's coming across here. The enemy's sort of occupied here in the middle. And these guys finally get their chance to charge the enemy, right? They're sent to charge. Our horse archers are also following us, so it's a combined attack, right? This is heavy cav and horse archers. And since they're not attacking our square, the infantry gets told to charge. Not very many guys. It's like 20, 30 guys, but they might as well join the scrum too. But we're going to do a little more kiting. And it's never too late to kite in this situation like this. As long as the enemy hasn't reached your archers, you can still hear them shooting. The 2nd cav is still following me. Now we're going to do a little cav hammer and anvil with our 2 cav division. So I'm sending the 3rd cav to the far side. The 2nd is still following me. In fact, we're kind of getting in the way of our archers on a regular basis. The enemy's chasing our infantry here. I bring the 3rd cav towards me. There's only 54 enemies left. The enemy's been greatly weakened by this kiting effort. But now we're just going to, the coup de grace here, right? This is the 2nd, 3rd, and 8th are all told to charge just to annihilate these guys once and for all. I mean, there's not very many at this stage. The number's dropping rapidly. In fact, they're actually routing. Their enemy, their division just disappeared because they were attacked. They were kited so badly. In fact, look at this. These archers, they don't even want to fight. We don't even have to fight them, right? They're just taken off. They've seen the rest of this battle. They've seen the decimation of their army, and they are fucking out of here. Like to shoot a guy in the back. I don't actually think I shoot anybody in either of these 2 battles, right? This is strictly command. We might as well get a kill or 2 here now that there's no danger. We can say that we were part of the battle, and the enemy's fleeing. Khuzait is dominant, and you've seen in this case at least kiting as long as you can command these different 6, 7, 8 units, is utterly devastating to these other forces. Almost 300 units left, and again, this is with equal quality strengths on both sides. I think we'll try one more. I'm not sure if I'm going to attach it to this video or not because it'll make it a pretty long episode, but I think we'll try an episode where the enemy is defending against Khuzait and see how much harder the challenge is, right? Kiting, of course, is easier because you're approaching the enemy. We will try it with the enemy effectively in a defensive position against Khuzait. We whipped the bastard! Again, this is a pretty demonstrative victory here, achieved mostly through tactics. I think if you F1, F3 this battle, you probably win and lose half the time.